welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and today we rated our new book release shelves. So we've got some books that were released in May, June, and July that maybe you aren't aware of. Could be some favorite authors, could be some new authors to you. So turn it over to Jill for her first pick.
So my first pick is Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting by Claire Pooley. This was published in June 2022. Nobody ever talks to strangers on the train. It's a rule. But what would happen if they did? From the New York Times and Globe and Mail best-selling author of The Authenticity Project, a heartwarming novel about unexpected friendships and the joy of connecting. Everyday Iona, larger-than-life magazine advice columnist, travels the 10 stops from Hampton Court to Waterloo Station by train, accompanied by her dog Lulu. Every day she sees the same people who she knows only by nickname, impossibly pretty constant reader and terribly lonely teenager. Of course, they never speak. Seasoned commuters never do. Then one morning, the man called smart but sexist manspreader chokes on a grape right in front of her. He'd have died if it were not for the timeless intervention of Sanjay, a nurse, who gives him the Heimlich maneuver. This single event starts a chain reaction, and an eclectic group of people with almost nothing in common except their commute discover that a chance encounter can blossom into much more. It turns out that talking to strangers can teach you about the world around you, and even more about yourself. I think this book's kind of important because of COVID. We don't talk to anybody anymore, so talking to strangers.
Fun pick. My first pick is from May, and this is The Emma Project by Sonali Dave. Emma gets a fresh Indian American twist from this award-winning author in her heartwarmingly irresistible Jane Austen-inspired rom-com series. She also has spins on Pride and Prejudice, Persuasion, and Sense and Sensibility. So in this book, no one can call Vansh Rajay's life anything but charmed. Handsome, Vogue has declared him California's hottest single, and rich enough to spend all his time on missions to make the world a better place. Add to that a doting family and a contagiously sunny disposition, and he has made it halfway through his 20s without ever facing anything to throw him off his admittedly spectacular game. A couple years from turning 40, Naina Kohli has just gotten out of a 10-year-long fake relationship with Vansh's brother and wants only one thing from her life. Fine, two things. One, to have nothing to do with the unfairly blessed Raja family ever again. And two, to bring economic independence to millions of women in South Asia through her microfinance foundation and prove her father wrong about, well, everything. So, if this sounds intriguing, check out an Indian American spin on the Jane Austen books. So, The Emma Project.
Who doesn't love Jane Austen? My next one is called Tracy Flick Can't Win by Tom Perrotta. This is the second book in a series. He also has one called Tracy Flick. So this is published in June 2022. It's a satirical book on the politics that never leave high school.
Oh, boy.
Tracy Flick is a hardworking assistant principal at a public high school in suburban New Jersey. Still ambitious but feeling a little stuck and underappreciated in midlife, Tracy gets a jolt of good news when her longtime principal, Jack Weed, abruptly announces his retirement, creating a rare opportunity for Tracy to ascend to the top job. Energized by the prospect of her long overdue promotion, Tracy throws herself into her work with renewed zeal, determined to prove her worth to her students, faculty, and school board, while also managing her personal life. 10-year-old daughter, needy doctor boyfriend, and burgeoning meditation practice. But nothing ever comes easily to Tracy Flick, no matter how diligent or qualified she happens to be. Among her many other responsibilities, Tracy is enlisted to serve the selection committee for the brand new Green Meadow High School Hall of Fame. Her male colleagues' determination to honor Vito Falcone, a star quarterback of dubious character who had brief, undistinguished career in the NFL, triggers bad memories for Tracy and leads her to troubling reflections about the trajectory of her own life and the forces that have left her feeling thwarted and disappointed, unable to fulfill her true potential. As she broods her past, Tracy becomes aware of storm clouds brewing in the present. Is she really a shoo-in for the principal job? Is the superintendent plotting against her? Why is the school board president's wife trying so hard to be her friend? And why can't she ever get what she deserves? Tracy Flick.
Poor Tracy Flick. My second pick is from June, and this is from our nonfiction section of our new releases. And this is Who is Wellness For? An examination of wellness culture and who it leaves behind by Fariha Roshin. The multidisciplinary artist and author of Like a Bird and How to Cure a Ghost explores the appropriateness of wellness through the lens of social justice, providing resources to help anyone participate in self-care, regardless of race, identity, socioeconomic status, or able-bodiedness. This book is divided into 4 sections, beginning with The Mind, in which the author examines the art of meditation and the importance of intuition. In part 2, The Body, she investigates the physiology of trauma, detailing her own journey with fat phobia and gender dysmorphia, as well as her own chronic illness. In part 3, she moves into self-care, where she argues against the self-care industrial complex, but cautions us against abandoning self-care completely, and she offers us some practical advice. And she ends with justice, arguing that if we truly want to be well, we must be invested in everyone's well-being and a shift toward a nurturance culture. Deeply intimate and revelatory, Who is Wellness For? Forces us to confront the imbalance in health and healing and carves a path towards self-care that is inclusionary for all. So I thought this nonfiction pick sounded interesting. Who is Wellness For?
The next one is in Florida, which strange things happen there, I guess. By Deb Rogers, a Florida woman, published in July 2022. A gleefully dark and entertaining debut for fans of Kevin Wilson and Karen Russell about one young woman's sensational summer at a Floridian wildlife center for exotic monkeys. So, with monkeypox being a thing too, it's kind of relevant. Jamie is a Florida woman. She grew up on the beach, thrives in humidity, has weathered more hurricanes than she can count, and now after going viral for an outrageous crime she never meant to commit in the first place, she has the requisite headline to her name. But when the chance comes for her to escape viral infamy and imminent jail time by taking a community service placement at Atlas, a shelter for rescued monkeys, it seems just the fresh start Jamie needs to finally get her life back on track. Until it's not. Something sinister stirs in the palmetto woods surrounding her cabin, and secrets lurk among 3 beguiling women who run the shelter and affectionately take Jamie under their wing for the summer. She hears the distant screams of monkeys each night. Staff perform cryptic lakeside sacrifices to honor Atlas, and the land, which has long been abandoned by citrus farmers and theme park developers alike, now proves to be dangerously, relentlessly untamed. As Jamie ventures deeper into the offbeat world of rituals of Atlas, her summer is soon set to inspire even stranger Florida headline than she could ever have imagined. The Florida woman.
And monkeys.
And
okay.
monkeys. At a monkey rescue.
My third pick, I think, also came out in May. This is Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow. What if you could take a vacation to your past? With her celebrated humor, insight, and heart, beloved New York Times best-selling author offers her own twist on traditional time travel tropes and a different kind of love story. On the eve of her 40th birthday, Alice's life isn't terrible. She likes her job, even if it isn't exactly the one she expected. She's happy with her apartment, her romantic status, her independence, and she adores her lifelong best friend. But her father is ailing, and it feels to her as if something is missing. When she wakes up the next morning, she finds herself back in 1996, reliving her 16th birthday. But it isn't just her adolescent body that shocks her, or seeing her high school crush, it's her dad, the vital, charming 40-something version of her father with whom she is reunited. Now armed with a new perspective on her own life and his, some past events take on new meaning. Is there anything that she would change if she could? This author is the author of the novels All Adults Here, Modern Lovers, The Vacationers, Laura Lamont's Life in Pictures, and short story collection Other People We Married. Her work's been published all over in 20 countries, and she and her husband own Books Are Magic, an independent bookstore out in New York. So I thought that was kind of cool. This is next on my list to read. So I'm kind of intrigued by this, going back and reuniting with her father and a younger version of her father,
cool.
Especially after losing my dad a year ago. So Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow.
So this one you might have to put on hold. It's been kind of a hot book this summer. But this one's on our lucky day shelf, so if you get lucky, you might get it. Ellen Hildebrand, The Hotel Nantucket, published in June 2022. After a tragic fire in 1922 that killed 19-year-old chambermaid Grace Hadley, the Hotel Nantucket descended from Gilded Age gem into mediocre budget-friendly lodge to inevitably an abandoned eyesore. until it's purchased and renovated top to bottom by London billionaire Xavier Darling. Xavier hires Nantucket's sweetheart Lisbeth Keaton as his general manager, and Lisbeth, in turn, pulls together a charismatic, if inexperienced, staff who share the vision of turning the fate of the hotel around. They face challenges in getting along with one another and the guests, in overcoming the hotel's bad reputation, and in surviving the mostly harmless shenanigans of Grace Hadley herself, who won't stop haunting the hotel until her murder is acknowledged. Filled with emotional tension and multiple points of view that characterize Ellen's books, The Blue Bistro and The Golden Girl are some examples of what she's written, as well as an added touch of historical reality. Hotel Nantucket offers something for everyone in this summer drama for the ages. So
I've got that one on hold. I think I came in at like 95 or something by the time I realized that was out.
It's got a bit of a long list there.
My next pick is a new pick from our poetry collection. We also have poetry, and this is from June, and this is Rearranged by Kirsten Hoffensberger. This book embodies vulnerable stories of deep, jagged trauma and the isolating path of finding self-acceptance. The author strips her soul onto the pages in this raw and heartfelt collection of experiences throughout her life. As the reader follows along on this journey, they become one with the aching that comes from loss and loss of self, while encompassing the resounding hope that shines healing light into the darkness. Growing up in a family that had a passion for writing and drawing, Kirsten was influenced by generation after generation of private writers and artists. She has shared these passions since childhood, but did not self-publish her first book until her late 20s. She was moved to share her work after going through loss, grief, and healing. She's also one of our patrons here at Kimberly and is a Kimberly resident. So if you want to check out Kirsten's book, Rearranged, her poetry collection is on our new release shelf.
Awesome. Love local authors. This next one is published in June 2022, Can't Look Away by Carola Lovering. In 2013, 23-year-old Molly Diamond is a barista, dreaming of becoming a writer. One night at a concert in East Williamsburg, she locks eyes with the lead singer, Jake Danner, and can't look away. Molly and Jake fall quickly and deeply in love, especially after he writes a hit song about her that puts his band on the map. Nearly a decade later, Molly has given up writing and is living in Flynn Cove, Connecticut, with her young daughter and her husband Hunter, who is decidedly not Jake Danner. Their life looks picture perfect, but Molly is lonely. She feels out of place with the other women in her wealthy suburb and is struggling to conceive their second child. When Sabrina, a newcomer in town, walks into the yoga studio where Molly teaches and confesses her own fertility struggles, Molly believes she's found a friend. But Sabrina has her own reasons for moving to Flynn Cove and befriending Molly, and as Sabrina's secrets are slowly unspooled, her connection to Molly becomes clearer, as do secrets of Molly's own, which she's worked hard to keep buried. Meanwhile, a new version of Jake's hit song is on the radio, forcing Molly to confront her past and ask the ultimate questions. What happens when life turns out nothing like we thought it would? When we were young and dreaming big, does growing up mean choosing with your head rather than your heart? And do we ever truly get over our first love? So, can't look away.
It's a new author for me.
Yeah, not heard of that one.
And my last pick is also a new author to me. This just came out in July, and this is The Ruins by Phoebe Wynn. It's a suspenseful feminist gothic coming-of-age tale with shades of Patricia Highsmith, the book's Atonement, Rebecca, pitched against the sun-soaked backdrop of a summer holiday on the French Riviera. Ruby Ashby adores her parents' house in France, but this August everything feels different. Unexpected guests have descended upon the chateau, friends of her parents and their daughters, and they are key to enjoy the hot, extravagant summer holiday to its fullest potential. Far from England, safe in their wealth and privilege, the adults revel in bad behavior without consequence, while the girls are treated as playthings or abandoned to their own device. But despite languid days spent poolside and long nights spent drinking, a simmering tension is growing between the families, and this sanctuary that Ruby cherishes soon starts to feel like a gilded cage. Over 2 decades later, the chateau is for sale. Its days of splendor and luxury are long gone, leaving behind a terrible history and an ugly legacy. A young widow returns to France wanting to purchase the chateau, despite her shocking memories of what transpired that fateful summer. But there is another person who is equally haunted by the chateau and who also wants to reclaim it. Who will set the chateau free and who will become yet another of its victims? With riveting psychological complexity, The Ruins captures the glittering allure of the Mediterranean and the dark shadows that wait beneath the surface. So this one sounded kind of intriguing to me too, and I was not familiar with this author. So The Ruins.
In the Mediterranean, who does want to go there? We hope you found something new to read. If you're looking for something new this summer that's just out, that's our list.
Yeah, always stop in and check out the new release shelves, and always swing by the Lucky Day. It might be your lucky day. We've got movies and books on there, and they change daily for what's on that shelf. Thank you for watching. You can like, comment, share. You can find us on Facebook and on our YouTube channel for the Kimberly Public Library. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Bye.